Welcome back, everyone. Me and Badger was talking about a different way of actually dominating the air game or winning the air game. So we both realized a few stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that the thing that we discussed that we thought we'd share or discuss here, because we haven't really talked about it, we just named the topic.
Yeah.
Is that I think that many times when you think about the air game, especially multiplayer, because that's when you really usually have like a UK that's mass producing fighters and only doing that, or you have a German player that really goes all in on air, in combination with tanks usually. But is that I think that usually you overestimate how much you need and how you should use it, because I think that a lot of players, they look at stats and think, okay, this fighter outguns this fighter, and this fighter shoots down this many of that type of plane.
Yeah.
But what it's really about is to be able, like, what do you need fighters for?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need them for?
Yeah.
And that is sustaining air supremacy for a period of time when you need it, right?
And as we were talking about, probably much shorter amount of time than you actually think. Because it's not about winning the air game, shooting down all the other planes.
No.
It's getting local air dominance.
Yeah, where you want to use your land army.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, so I think the hypothesis is basically like, could you outproduce your enemy by early crappy planes?
Yeah.
To be able to just put many planes up in the air for a period of time to get that green air, or at least yellow air.
Yeah.
And then maybe instead put a lot of IC on close air support instead.
Yeah.
Or something else.
Just to remind the viewers, because every plane, no matter the tech tier it has, every fighter has the same amount of air superiority gain.
Yeah.
Every heavy fighter, no matter the tech tier, gives the same amount of air superiority.
Yeah, heavy fighters give more air superiority than
fighters.
Yeah,
but
fighters.
in the respective
the tiers doesn't matter.
Yeah, the tiers doesn't matter. So
yeah, so it's basically so what happens is usually then, like, if you have 36 tech fighters flying against 39 or 40 tech fighters, the better ones shoot down the other ones over time at a quicker pace.
Yeah.
But if you have a surplus of the early ones and you only need that air superiority to be able to sustain a fight for a year, or something like that, because the front would have moved, or you can't really use that amount after a while, then it's more about like a production game, like how much you need as a critical mass for a period of time.
And I would say a year is a long time span. It could even be for like a month, or just like a week. You want to make airdrops.
Yeah.
You want to airdrop Alamein, you want to airdrop the Soviet Union, wherever you want.
Yeah.
Just mass planes into one tile, one air zone.
Yeah.
And just be able to make that drop or win that naval battle.
Yeah.
Just gaining total air dominance for 1 week.
Yeah.
And then the other numbers doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah, they will kill twice as much of planes that you have done, but they lost 20, you lost 40.
Yeah, because I think that the second angle of this, which is usable no matter what, is, and that's more about how to sustain a drawn-out fight. Because what I see many players make a mistake in is that they, during a long period of time, as the UK, for example, they just keep their airplanes up, trying to fight somewhere or fighting the Germans, when you might be the one being outproduced at that part of the game. Yeah. So you might just want to keep your planes on the ground unless you need them to fight. Unless something is happening, why? Like, if you're not winning the industry game, then you should avoid getting into fights, which is usually the thing that the Germans should be avoiding. Yeah. So the Germans, I mean, they could, if they can have a smaller air force, keeping less planes in production and instead building more tanks. Yeah. I think, I mean, that's how you be efficient with your resources, right? Yeah. So have like the 4K fighters you need, and then not use them that much. No. I mean,
use them when you need to use them.
Use them when you need to use them. Yeah, exactly.
And gain that local air dominance. And I would say that's where heavy fighters are really, really good. Yeah. Not only because they give more air superiority, but since you have the range. Yeah. So you could just go 36 of everything. Yeah. And have a lot of them. Yeah. Get the total air dominance and be able to pair drop wherever you want.
Yeah. And I think because... Okay, let's play with the idea, because I know that in our multiplayer games, playing the finest bra, which is like you have more factors in the finest bra compared to vanilla, but they produce less. But anyway, so let's just say that you usually build 100 factories, mills on fighter production. That's the UK.
Yeah.
Quite common amount.
Yeah.
Like mid-late game. Let's say that you would instead use less of your planes over a period of time. You save them as much as you can until you have the D-Day ready.
Yeah.
So you put maybe half of that on fighter production and half instead of CAS production.
Yeah.
Or tactical bombers. Because I think that usually what happens is that because once you get air superiority, what that gives you is, if you have green air, that gives you additional ground support buffs on your fights, right? But it also neglects the enemy a bit, so they don't get it. So usually what happens is that both sides get yellow air, or leaning one side or the other, right? So, but then what happens? So if both have yellow air, then it's just like a zero game, right?
Yeah.
For a period of time. So what happens then is that the CAS is the second factor.
Yeah.
That you want to have in that fight. So, that's where you get the air support. But so basically so to have all that extra buffs, that's one thing, but also the extra ground attack. Yeah. And I think that CAS is usually really under-prioritized.
Yeah.
Also really under-prioritized.
To your mind, how much CAS to fighter ratio would you say?
I mean, in the perfect of worlds, you would have 0 fighters and only CAS.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Because if the enemy doesn't have any fighters, you don't need any fighters.
No. Then you get total dominance.
Yeah,
anyway.
So you get all the air superiority buffs you need from your CAS.
Yeah.
And the ground support and the CAS attack.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think so that's the thing. I think you only need fighters to the extent that the enemy has fighters, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you're capped by the level, the amount of planes you can get in a certain zone. That's usually what you see in the end game.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can have a like 2-to-1 ratio to your enemy, then you're in a very good position to have green air plus CAS.
Yeah.
But I think I would rather have yellow air, but the twice amount of CAS, maybe.
Yeah.
To be honest, because I think CAS, they do so much damage as well, and they also help you with air superiority.
Yeah.
So I think, like in general, I think people should. That's the meta. That's the meta observation.
Yeah.
Less fighters, more CAS to the people.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, let's try it. Like I would love to try it next time I'm playing an air controller.
Yeah.
To see what happens.
Yeah. But also the takeaway that building early planes is not that bad, since you get air superiority, the same amount. Cheaper air superiority, even if they're not as sustainable.
Yeah, and stay on the 36 tech fighters for a long time, save them, and then use them for a short period of time, see what happens.
Yeah, just go all in and just
yeah, and then you could go the late tech CAS, because that's where you get the ground attack, because that's what's do damage.
That would be really, really interesting. Building just crappy 1946 fighters
and then wait,
only using them for the air superiority they give you.
Yeah, and then you use late game like 39 take CAS and forward.
Yeah.
So you invert it. So you build early fighters and late CAS, and that's how you household with your mills.
Yeah, I will try this.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the Soviets, for example, I think it's a perfect one, because sometimes you go for no air Soviet anyway.
Yeah.
And now you with the TFB mod, which is the mod we should play.
Yeah.
Then you have the command economy as well, which gives you a higher production capacity.
Yeah.
Which means that staying on an early tech for a longer period of time is even more worth it.
Yeah. So
staying on the early 36 fighters throughout the game.
Yeah.
And then just build late game CAS instead. I think that could be interesting.
But the most, I would say, a takeaway from vanilla is that you can just strip your planes. It can be a 1936 plane with just an engine and some lousy guns.
Yeah.
They will still give you 1 in air superiority per plane.
They would fall out of the sky real quick, but then again, they cost nothing.
They cost nothing. So doesn't matter. You could give it some defense.
Armor the plates.
Armor plates.
Refuel the ceiling.
The modules. Just get up the air defense, because air attack. Because air attack doesn't matter if you just want to conserve your planes. The only thing you want is air defense. If you're not gonna shoot down anyone, you just fuck the enemy air force. Don't say fuck. just don't care about the enemy air force. You don't want to shoot it down. You just want air superiority, and you want to conserve your plane. Just building with defense and no attack. Just don't bother with it, and just spam out cheap air superiority, and do it also with early heavy fighters.
Yeah,
the same thing. Standard engine, no guns. Some air defense, and yes.
I mean, yeah, and what we're talking about now is basically squeezing the most out of your economy, right?
Yeah.
That's because, I mean, if you're super rich and you're the US, maybe you don't care about this.
No, yeah.
But if you're the Soviet Union and you want to put all your military factories into guns for your infantry or medium tanks or something like that, then this could be a very good way to get a lot of bang for the buck.
Yeah.
For your air force, right?
Or if you just want to be sure, like Germany, because Germany doesn't have infinite resources, and you want to make an airdrop on the UK, just building really cheap planes.
Yeah.
So you get that air superiority you need.
Yeah.
And then just drop.
Paradrop them.
Yeah.
There you have it, the new meta.
The new meta. We fixed it. A couple of years.
Okay. Spoiler, this could be a very bad idea as well. But I mean, in theory, there could be some... I mean, the safe bet is always to go for the latest take, building the 39 fighters, like, when you get there. I mean, that's what we see, right?
Yeah.
But this is like something you could try to challenge the meta, right? Try something different.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I think I would crunch the numbers on this one. Yeah. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, compare it.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, but I think, and again, key is to don't do the mistake of just keeping all your fighters in air.
No.
Being able to get shot down. You need to get them up, get them down again.
Yeah.
So it's more like a guerrilla play style with your Air Force.
Yeah. It's like with Navy, just sinking the enemy Navy doesn't give you anything.
No.
You need to realize what I'm going to do with this.
Yeah, so exactly. You sink the surface fleet to be able to invade or to be able to raid.
So you gain air superiority for a reason.
Yeah, so you gain it. Exactly.
If you don't have a reason to have air superiority, you can take your planes down.
Yeah.
Yeah. The conclusion.
All right.
We fixed the meta once more. Just for that.
I'm out of here.
Oh.
You drink. See you guys.